Today, I would like to share the drawings that have made me the artist I am today. I thought it would be cool to show you guys my path from being a student when I started my Instagram account to now being a professional storyboard artist in feature films. My artistic journey has gone through many phases. My influences are constantly shifting the more I draw and the more I see and experience. No one's art stays the same throughout their entire lives. I mean, I would hope not anyway. Usually, when I look back, it feels like there's a certain drawing that marks the beginning of an artistic shift. I've personally heard it described as a eureka drawing because it feels like you made some kind of discovery about yourself and the direction you want your art to go. You also kind of feel it as you're drawing, the feeling of leveling up. It's honestly one of the most rewarding things about making art and the whole journey around it. Please try an artistic hobby. I promise all this suffering is worth it in the end. So I want to go through my artistic journey and point out my own eureka drawing and how they've influenced my art from both a personal and a professional level. Luckily, since graduating college, I've been posting art pretty consistently. And I made it a rule not to delete anything, even if it made me want to claw my own eyes out. And unluckily for me, that was a majority of my posts. But I'm glad I didn't, because now we get to look at both the good and the bad, so we can get a clear outline of my personal journey. Okay, let's go back to the beginning, when I graduated college, all the way back in 2016. We come to my first one. This is the first Instagram post I ever did. Boy, is it pixelated. I think I was doing this on Storyboard Pro. My art clearly has changed a lot since July 11th, 2016, which is like a couple months after I graduated college. I was working as a story artist at Pipeline Studios. I think it's cool looking back and seeing the whole route of how I developed as an artist. Starting here, I still like this hand. It's not a bad hand. I like these fat folds. There's some nice stuff. I mean, I wasn't bad at drawing, but clearly my style had a lot of developing to do, and appeal-wise, I wasn't quite there, and I was missing a lot of influences and stuff that I have now. I would consider this my please just post every day era, where I did not care about what I posted. I just wanted to get a post out. I was just posting cafe sketches every day, using all kinds of brushes. I didn't really have a style as much as I would consider myself having a style now, or at least a look. I don't know if you'd be able to tell these were my drawings, but I was just kind of discovering myself. However, this one, even though it's not very impressive, this is the start of me trying to compose images through my cafe sketches and less of just trying to draw a floating character. I would consider this a pretty important stepping stone in like my total artistic journey, especially developing as like a story artist. So this was kind of a eureka drawing to me. As we keep scrolling through, you can see just a lot of cafe sketches, trying to compose it more. And around here, I started drawing dogs. I don't know why, but this is the first time I noticed people, not just my friends, liking my posts. So I think the dog thing worked to get people to look at my stuff. But these dogs, I would consider the beginning of my try to draw like a Disney story artist era. I really wanted at this point to work in the feature animation industry. So I was trying hard to find artists to reference and kind of almost mimic people like Louis Del Carmen, Norman LeMay, Paul Briggs, Ryan Green, Jin Kim, Glenn Keane. I could still draw like myself, but just take what I liked from their drawings and kind of infuse it with the way I drew. And this, I remember being a pretty significant milestone and being like, hey, I can draw like a Disney guy. So to me, it felt kind of like I'm not so far behind. Looking back at it, maybe I was, but at this point, I felt like I could do this. And still, I was trying to post every day. So I was still cafe sketching daily. And look, this is my first 100 followers post. It's nice looking back at all this and seeing how I've developed. This specifically is an image I remember having a major shift in the way I drew. I found this thing online that talked about appeal and how sometimes you don't have to always do a side view, but you can cheat it by doing like an almost profile where you can have some of the eye peeking out. And this, for some reason, really stuck with me. Looking back at it now, it's really pixelated. It's not an amazing drawing. I made it sound all casual, quick after work doodle, but really I was proud of this. I really felt like I had solved something with appeal. I was like, damn, this looks like something a professional would do. Look at how appealing the side profile is. The space outfit, clearly not well researched, but you know what? It works. But the post right after, I was like, clearly I could only draw almost profiles because the second that it went past the tutorial, the face kind of fell apart. And you know, it's still fine, but I was humbled drawing another astronaut girl the day after, and it didn't feel like it hit the same way that this drawing hit. But this did mark a change in the way I drew, in the way I thought about appeal, in the way that I realized that I could cheat stuff, and making something technically correct wasn't always the most appealing way to draw it. These I also remember. I'm getting the gesture in with the kind of Disney feature style I was cultivating, and I remember being super happy with these as well. And it's the first time I'm like, hey, I can do more than one figure on a page. I was especially happy with this middle one, and I felt pretty proud that I was able to like come up with this unique dog pose, because dogs are kind of hard to draw. Keep scrolling up. So I just woke up one day at like 2 a.m. and I'm like, I want to do an image of two guys arm wrestling. I want to like fake that there's like a whole ass plot behind this. And I was like, this is a story. This guy's smiling, he's really smug, this guy's trying really hard. I can do this. I know people have already discovered this, but for me this was something super new. I was like, I can make a whole story in an hour. And after this I went on a spree. I shotgun blasted story beats. Girl walking her dog, girl paying an ogre money, guy riding his bike, and literally every day I was just doing a different story. But yeah, this was a really big turning point in how I viewed myself as an artist, and I think how other people viewed me as an artist. This I think is the most important beat board I did early on. This is the first one that I think said something about what I wanted to say as an artist, and kind of like a proto version of my style. So this is still kind of the way I draw faces a little bit. I still like making people ride weird animals. I still like drawing big backpacks. And I was like, I can imply a whole fantasy adventure, my two favorite genres, by myself. That's so cool. And I still think about this drawing to this day, 8 years later. And look, I kept going back to this character. I don't think these were as successful as my first one, but I really felt like I was able to almost tell a mini story, like a little comic. And I was super proud of these as a whole. And you know, I see a lot of errors in how I would draw it now, but I feel like these three drawings really represent how I've developed as an artist and kind of what I want to say in the future. Focus on emotions, focus on a few characters, and tell a deep and meaningful story. Not that this is very deep, but it's branching on something more complex. This was the first post of mine that I think like exploded. It was the first one that got over 1,000 likes, which at the time I had like 300 followers, whatever. It felt really massive. I was like, whoa, I'm famous. Look at this, 1,000 likes. And I'm still happy. It's a really cute drawing of a dog. Maybe I've got this Disney puppy thing down. But yeah, after this, I kept drawing cute little animals. And then we get to here, 1,000 followers, huge milestone for me. I kept drawing bears to represent milestones. As many posts as it took me to get to 100, I think, it took me to get to 1,000, which is pretty interesting. So we go up here and we reach my portfolio post. This marks a really important shift because I worked so hard on this portfolio piece, and I put together everything I knew about storyboarding that I learned since I graduated, which was most of everything, and all this like appeal that I've learned over the past year into this like one product. Obviously I have a lot of issues with it now, but back then I was super proud of it, and this was actually the portfolio piece that got me my job as a story trainee. This was the first beat board I put in my portfolio, and I think this is where the complexity of my storytelling via beat boards really jumped. Showing two characters interacting with each other, a complex background. She's even stirring milk into the coffee. You don't see that every day. It was saying something a bit more. I think the other ones showed a character and showed a scenario, but did not have a mood. And I think this is the first one that actually implied some kind of mood. With you guys, I'm looking at these for the first time again. So I'm scrolling up and I'm figuring this stuff out as I go. So it's interesting to see and remember what I felt was important. So here we have something I think is very important, because this, to this day, is still my icon for Instagram. My icon has not changed from 2017. It does not feel that old. This is crazy, actually, that I'm using such an old icon. I thought this was more recent. Maybe I should change it. No, it's iconic. Iconic just to me. I don't know if it's iconic to anyone else, but I think this was where my Disney appeal peaked. I don't think I've done it better since. We keep scrolling up, still more Disney stuff, more dogs. And here, look, 10K. That was pretty soon after the 1K. You could grow fast on Instagram before. I don't think you can go fast on Instagram now. But yeah, you can tell the bears are getting better too. Look at that shape, like the beanbag. I was getting very comfortable drawing animals at this point. Much more comfortable than I am now. This is another one that I distinctly remember. I was super happy with this character sheet. It's at this point where I felt like I was able to freely play around with angles and perspectives. Like I was really grasping how to draw dogs, playing around with how the offset of the arms, the dog being upside down, scared, the angle of the muzzle being kind of like upturned at us. So to me, that was significant. Even my cafe sketches were getting more confident. I didn't have a million lines going through the character. I was able to really quickly lay down a silhouette for a face, which if you remember at the beginning, I was not really able to, and it was kind of all over the place. And this was already at DreamWorks. This drawing too was the first one that someone actually modeled in 3D. I thought that was super cool. I'm exploring more mood here. I think I was really inspired by Kiki's Delivery Service with like the multi-leveled city and stuff, and kind of like summer fun type feeling that I wanted to like evoke in this image. When I started drawing this, I didn't know that I'd be able to evoke this kind of mood, but I was very pleasantly surprised, and I think people liked it a lot. Obviously, like the tones and values could have been improved, yeah, but I think like the feeling I wanted to capture was captured, and that's kind of what I still think is important, more than like a perfect image. So if we scroll through, you can tell that the way I'm playing with like tone and lighting, it really starts around here, where I'm no longer just doing kind of flat generic gray stuff. I'm really playing with like a light source and using that to help with the mood. I don't know if I would be able to draw this right now, but I remember when I started this drawing, I told myself, I don't care how long it takes, I am going to draw something that feels lived in. I am not going to like take the easy route and just draw generic stuff in the background. I'm going to look this up. I am going to find proper names and signage and reference stuff, the stairs, all the little things. And I think it paid off a lot. I was pretty impressed with myself. Like I did not know I had it in me to draw something that felt real, not just mood wise, but like it felt like a real place. And it clocked me after that, where I'm like, something feeling unique and lived in is important. Part of the storytelling is in the environment, which obviously seems obvious, but once I drew it and I saw the difference it made and the impact it had on my art, I feel like it changed the direction that I was going. This was definitely a eureka drawing, and this is another one I still think about. Again, in 2018, 8 years ago. Damn. Oh look, I did color for 20,000. So you could see that my account was growing pretty quickly here, because I was posting almost every day. This one I still remember as well. Clearly my style was like starting to change. The noses were a bit different. They're no longer like Disney princess noses. The way I was drawing the heads were more circular and simple. Like I think I was definitely inspired by like other story artists at DreamWorks at the time. This one I remember also researching like crazy. It was like a group of friends walking through this like onsen town based on Ginzan Onsen, which I really want to go to. But yeah, here I was really trying to get the atmosphere down. And I remember this taking me forever to draw. All the little details of the bridges and the rafters. And like this is based on a photograph, so. And I can tell right now the perspective is not great. I definitely should have worked more at the perspective of it, but hey, I think it said what it needed to say. At this point in time, it was also a bit of my life drawing era. Twice a week at work, I was going and life drawing. And I think for a while, I was known as like a life drawing person. But yeah, you guys can see like I was actually combining my design sensibilities and my story sensibilities with life drawing, and not just drawing the model, which I think ended up being very successful. But yeah, I was pretty happy with this Inktober. I was obsessed with onsens at this point. Oh, this one was the first comic I did on Instagram based on Red Dead Redemption, about how you would walk through a town and how you'd go to like pet the dog, but there's like two options. One is to pet the dog, one is to brutally murder the dog, and you'd misclick and just like stab someone or like punch someone in the face. It was probably a panel too long, but yeah, this was the first comic I did. It's pretty morbid, I won't lie. It was very divisive. People were either really sad or thought it was funny, because I was like, I don't know if people have done this in the game. And I posted this comic and I'm like, oh, like 30 people can all relate to this. That's really cool. The comic I'm actually working on now, this was the first comic test I ever did for it. I'm really glad I didn't start then. You know what? I'm not glad I didn't start then, because I wish I started then, because I would have had a comic by now. But I feel like I don't draw like this. You guys probably all think, yeah, you draw like this. But to me right now, I'm like, I could do better now, which is good. But I've been procrastinating the comic, and 8 years later, I'm still doing comic tests for it. So hey guys, wait for that comic, because any day now I'll be doing that. This was the 50K bear. I decided to do a sloth bear because I wanted to change it up. So this is one that I remember also being a eureka drawing for me. It's when I discovered my love for doing cozy settings and recreating a cozy moment. And I think this one was one of the most successful ones I had. Just having like the cool light of the outside and the warm shadows, which by the way, I didn't know you could do. In my mind, I'm like, lights are warm, shadows are cool. But I did the opposite, where I did a cool light and a warm shadow, and it created this really nice warm feeling, which you kind of need the color to see. But yeah, after this, I was like, I wish I could just have a job of just doing cozy places. I was super happy with this one. Don't put a space heater on a bed like this. I think it's really dangerous, but it's cozy as heck. So yeah, that one was pretty significant to me. This is another mood one that I really like, being at a party and you're like the only person there, not socializing. You're just like petting a dog and everything around you blends away. So this one I really enjoyed doing. Before I was trying to tell stories, yes, but here I was trying to like tell relatable stories, trying to capture moments that other people have experienced in their lives. This one I still remember. I was very into cozy places, and it really informed my art for this generation. You know what? I will call this the cozy era. And again, my life drawings were getting, I think, more animation-y, more cartoony. I totally stopped referencing the model's face and just kind of did my own face in place of it. Scroll up. This to me is another one that felt very important at the time. I always thought like sunshine after a rain was something like very beautiful, and I was like super happy I was able to capture it. I still get kind of like nostalgic feelings looking at this, maybe because I did it a long time ago, but I was also like surprised I was able to evoke this feeling. I don't know if people feel what I'm trying to get them to feel. I hope they are. I was putting so much time and love into these illustrations, which I don't do now. Looking at this makes me really want to put more effort into creating these kind of scenes and like trying to evoke these emotions. And I think I very much referenced Paperman while doing this. This is the first side-by-side comparison I did. This was like a really important moment for me. It was like a full circle. Like I started this Instagram right after I graduated, desperately trying to get into feature animation. And this was the first feature film that I worked on that came out. And this was my storyboard for the movie. I was super proud of it. I loved working on it, and I was so glad I got to share this. I think this was also a pretty big change in my style, because this is when I was very much referencing French artists. I always admired French artists, but I really felt like they were doing something very unique in the space, and I was falling in love with like Kairos and Last Man and all these graphic novels. I was seeing the stuff a lot of the French artists at work were doing, and I really wanted to draw like these amazing French artists. And I think people also like took note that this was different than the style I was normally doing, and they're like, this is cool, keep doing this. And it really motivated me to like step outside my comfort zone, play with different kind of proportions. Don't just keep doing big Disney eyes, cute little button noses. I'm still doing that a lot, but this was one that actually went viral on Twitter. When you're looking out the car and you see like a little guy running beside you, I tried to make it feel really old and nostalgic. I think if I did it now, I would probably add more details, maybe like go closer in on the girl, get a different angle, maybe blur it. But yeah, this one like ended up really speaking with a lot of people. I saw it stolen a lot. Like I saw Instagram accounts posting it and it was getting like 2 million likes, and I'm sitting here like 5,000 likes, which I was super happy about. But I was like, damn, millions? What's going on here? What is the algorithm doing to me? But I was just happy people were seeing it. I didn't even like reach out for people to take it down. I was like, hey, can you give me a credit at least? And most people were like, sure, and they put it on. So this one, I don't know why, but this one still kind of sticks with me. Getting transported to a new world in the computer, kind of creating a slice of life anime moments that you kind of like want to see what happens next. I guess that's why it was significant to me, to create like an image so enticing that you're like, oh wait, what? Can you keep going? I never did, which is a shame. I did sometimes. Some of them I keep going, but yeah. This one was also pretty significant in my journey. I still like this one. Kind of like I made a D&D world. Isn't that cool? That you have 3 characters that exist in some world going on an adventure. And obviously they just exist for this drawing, but just for a drawing, they feel alive. And I think that's like a superpower artists have in making something exist, even just for a moment, and breathing life into something. And like, you want to keep seeing these characters. Like, you can feel a dynamic between them. You can feel this guy being a bit more gruff, the wizened old paladin dwarf, the more naive elf archer. You can kind of get a sense for their personalities, and I think that's cool. My first Shrek. Nothing more to say about that, just that. I don't know why I made him smoking a cigarette and gave him an AK-47. This was the first animation I did since college, and I was trying to get my graphic novel character, which she doesn't look anything like this now, and I just wanted to put her in like a cozy forest setting, like reading a book. I was pretty happy with this. Like, I spent a long time on this, trying to make it feel smooth and trying to give everything enough time. I used it like a sample from Your Name because it's my favorite film, and I just wanted to make it as cozy as possible. I really wanted to have people steal this to do lo-fi hip-hop to. No one did, unfortunately. Let's keep going. I still like this image. I have no idea how the people would get up onto his hat, but I really like weird world building like this. And just looking back at this makes me want to do more stuff like this. Because really, when you want to see a fantasy story, you want to see weird shit like this, right? Because like, what's the point if it's something you've already seen versus like, hey, look, it's a giant and his hat has waterfalls and he's like smoking out clouds. I keep going through. My second Shrek, I actually made it into a magic card, which was stupidly broken. For 5 mana, it's basically a board wipe and ramp. What was I thinking? Donkey looked into his eyes and said, after you come back, we're making waffles. I played this card. This one, it felt almost like a shift in how I approached these beat boards. I'm like, I can tell a story in 30 minutes. I don't need to spend hours meticulously rendering everything and evoking a mood, even though I love doing that. So this was one of the first ones where I just kind of like blasted it out. And clearly I was influenced a lot by French comic artists, more than I am now Disney at this point. Still Disney, but less. Like here, this was definitely Studio La Cachette inspired. And this was, again, my comic character. Now looks completely different because my style influence is now French artists, like the comic Kairos by Ulysses. I was definitely looking at that while I was drawing this, and I'm like, hey, they're capturing something that I wasn't able to. I had a stiffness in my drawings that I think after seeing all these like French artists draw, like it felt like they were free. I started shifting the way I thought about drawing and caring less about the specifics or exactly how like the hair needs 2 points at it or the ear has to look this specific way at this specific angle. I was thinking less like that, and I was thinking more just like draw with feeling and flow. Even here, I was like, let me see if I can draw something quickly and not worry too much about it and still have it feel good. I don't love these now, but I could see the route that I was taking while drawing these. We go through. Even here, this is not a very fleshed out character, but it told a story and it was more fun to draw. I was really overworking my drawings before, and while I enjoyed the final product that it gave me, I wasn't having fun drawing them. What I found significant about this French anime era of my drawings is that I was having a lot more fun drawing. I was drawing stupid stuff, I was pushing the poses a lot, and I just was drawing more carefree. Even here, I'm like changing the model more, didn't have to have Disney sensibilities, and I think this was the start of me finding my own footing. You can tell right here that it's very French inspired, or at least I tried to. Come on, I wasn't even being subtle about it. I think I found this artist called Loic, and he did this comic called Flavor Girls, and I think I was very inspired by him at the time, and I'm still inspired by him. But yeah, I was inspired by all these French and anime artists. This one I very much remember feeling like I hit a stride with this French anime kind of look. I was so happy with this, and I was like, wait, is this possible? Can I take both the things I love and just have it in my own drawings? And the answer is yes, you can, if you just work at it for years and years and years. I was really trying to find my style and how I wanted to draw. As we go through, we can really see the evolution of my style. It's no longer Disney-ish. It's very much more anime and French at this point, which I guess Disney also started adapting to be more anime. But yeah, it feels very distinct looking at the journey as a whole. I was becoming much more confident with my life drawings. I felt like they were becoming more like full gestures in little scenes rather than me just going to life drawing and cartoonifying a pose. I like getting more story in there. But as you can also tell, tell by looking at these, the moods that I was capturing before, I was doing a lot less of now, and I'm a lot more character focused, which I kind of regret. This one does capture a mood, but it's still very character focused. And I do want to go back to creating these like more living worlds that I was doing before. Scroll up. This one was a big turning point in how I approach and push my character designs. I kind of like unlocked something doing these. Some freedom thing clicked in my brain, and it's like nothing matters. Do anything you want. Make the ears look floppy, make them look pointy, make the mouth huge, make the mouth small, show one tooth, no tooth. And for some reason that day I was able to break free of my curse. I was already breaking free a little bit, but here I was really able to untether and just do something fun and play around with this character that I still like a lot. Very cute vampire girl. I was doing it here too, doing stuff that I would not do even a year prior. I was playing with the face like it was like Play-Doh. I was really morphing the face in ways that I was always unconfident, and for some reason I gained the confidence, I guess over years of drawing. But I think it's cool to see how much more expressive my drawings became if we look at an early one versus this now. Yeah, I'm like really loosening up drawing all these monster girls. And this was another comic test, and as you can see, it's very different from the one I had before. I'll show you guys the first one, and this is the new one. I do a lot of rain, but yeah, you can see that like I have these kind of like true blacks to like push the hair back and push her forward, and I think I'm a lot more confident with like creating a simplified background, and I'm a lot better at moving the characters' faces in unique ways. I was pretty happy with how this turned out, and it was at this point where I'm like, maybe I'm ready to do this graphic novel, which again, this was a year ago, will happen any second now. And here is my character after like 10 years of working on her. I'm playing around with movement a lot more, and it's a lot more anime. You can tell that I'm looking at a lot of Studio Trigger stuff. I was very inspired by like Gurren Lagann and Cyberpunk Edge Runners and stuff like that. This was this year, so we're now in 2025. And I don't know if you guys think that my art is better now or better before, but I'm really happy with how I've progressed over the years and how much happier I feel drawing. You go through. This is the most successful post I've ever had, has 131,000 likes. I honestly have no idea how, but I'm so happy this resonated with people, because this feels like a culmination of not only my style changing throughout the years, but also all the work I've done refining how I do beat boards, how I tell stories, my 9.5 years of being a story artist, 8 of which were in feature animation. And I was very happy with how this turned out, because I had struggles drawing it. Some panels were more of a struggle than others, but I'm able to tell this full story, and I'm able to draw it loosely and still have fun drawing it and have it resonate with so many people. That's so amazing that I've done work that people like and people relate to and people want to see more of. So it's like this journey of this girl who a cat finds her, gives her this like supernatural powers, and she fights evil, and the cat gets hurt and she defeats all the monsters, and at the end the cat's in the background, and it's all based on this one photograph. So yeah, I'm so glad people like the concept and like these beat boards, because I did not know the reception when I was doing them. I was like, hey, I'm doing this for this YouTube video, I'll post it on Instagram because I want people to like see it. I didn't know people would react so strongly to it. And then we come to the latest post, which granted is not the most high effort post, but it does say a lot of how loose I draw now. This is just a storyboard panel, and it just says a lot. It's just really rough, it's very pushed. I had a lot of fun drawing it, and it's like the first pass at something, and this would be like how I would board now. Maybe I'd put a little bit more detail in the background, but I think it's a nice final image to wrap this video up, because compared to the first stiff drawings I was posting, I really see how I loosened up as an artist. I spent 6 years warming up to now be able to draw what I want to draw, which is kind of crazy when you think about it like that. But it's interesting to see this full journey, and I hope you guys enjoyed looking at this full journey with me. The past almost 10 years of Instagram posts that, again, never deleted, never archived, even if I didn't love it. From an old guy to trying to tell full stories through my art, and going from Disney to what I feel like is having my own voice now. And I hope that's evident through my drawings now. I'm not sure if it is. It's hard to tell if you have a style. Like, you never know what's your style, but I definitely have more of a style than I did back then, or at least one that I like more, which is what's important, is like your own own art, have fun drawing, and just keep moving forward, keep progressing. The only thing that matters is that you're happy with the progress you've made. And I'm definitely happy with the progress I've made. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed looking at my history and seeing the drawings that have shaped me to be the artist that I am today. And like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye. Book should be right here. Right down there. Down there.